Hello everyone, welcome. This is Riley Massey and Morgan Bell's Eukaryote project. We had Toxoplasma gondii. Alright, so for the taxonomy, the domain is Eukaryota, the kingdom is Protista, the phylum is Amphicomplexa, the class is Conoidacea, the order is Eukaryotes, the family is Sarcosistida, the genus is Toxoplasma, and the species is Toxoplasma gondii. Next, we have the life cycle and habitat. Toxoplasma gondii exhibits a complex life cycle involving both sexual and asexual reproduction. The sexual phase occurs exclusively within the intestines of felids, which are domestic and wild cats, making them the definitive host. Cats become infected by ingesting tissue cysts present in prey such as rodents and sparrows. Once inside the cat's intestines, the parasites undergo sexual reproduction, producing oocysts that are shed in the feces. These oocysts can contaminate soil, water, and food sources. Intermediate hosts, including humans and various warm-blooded animals, become infected by ingesting these oocysts or tissue cysts. In these hosts, the parasites undergo asexual reproduction, forming tissue cysts primarily in muscles and the central nervous system. Next, we have the general structure. Toxoplasma gondii is a protozoan parasite characterized by its crescent-shaped unicellular structure. It exists in several forms, like tachozoites, which have a rapidly multiplying form that is responsible for acute infections. Bradozytes, which is a slowly replicating form found in tissue cysts during chronic infections, and lastly sporozoites, which are contaminated within oocytes and are responsible for initiating infections in new hosts. The parasite structures includes specialized organelles such as rhombocytes and micronemes, which facilitate host cell invasions. Next, we have diseases in humans. Toxoplasma gondii is the causative agent of toxoplasmosis, a disease that can affect humans and other warm-blooded animals. While many infections are asymptomatic, toxoplasmosis can lead to severe health issues, particularly in immunocompromised individuals and during pregnancy. In humans, it can cause flu-like symptoms, neurological disorders, and congenital defects if transmitted from mother to fetus. In animals, especially birds and small mammals, it can cause various health problems and even death. Transmissions. Toxoplasma gondii can be transmitted through several routes, including ingestion of oocytes, which would be consumed in food or water that is contaminated with oocytes shed in feces of infected cats. Ingestion of tissue cysts is when you eat raw or uncooked meats contaminated with tissue cysts. Congenital transmissions, which would be like when an infected pregnant woman transmits it to her fetus by a parasite. And lastly, there are organ transplants or blood infusions, where infected organs or blood is transferred to a new host. This case is rare, however, and these diverse transmission routes contribute to widespread prevalence of Toxoplasma gondii infections globally.
So next is the course of the disease. So the course of this disease starts off with the initial acute stage with transmission. And then during this stage, there are no symptoms. And if they are mild. The next stage is the disease progressively becoming more chronic. And then after this, it's followed by the latent stage. And in the latent stage, there are cysts formed within the tissues by the parasite. So symptoms of this disease normally show 1 to 3 weeks after the initial exposure. Symptoms of this disease are fever, muscle aches, sore throat, fatigue, swollen lymph nodes, loss of appetite, and etc. Chronic infection and immunocompromised people are just a little bit different. Immunocompromised means that these people tend to be more vulnerable to sickness and disease, and they have like a weaker immune system. Symptoms within these people can include brain inflammation, seizures, heart problems, eye inflammation, and etc. People that are considered healthy normally have no symptoms, but in some instances, their symptoms can lead to mild or severe. People that tend to be more affected by this disease are infants and people with weaker immune systems, since toxoplasmosis is an infection from a parasite of Toxoplasma gondii. It causes birth defects and miscarriages. Okay, next is who and what does it harm? So the microbe is harmful to humans because it is said to be the leading cause of death from the illness that is foodborne within the U.S. It is able to create chronic infection state within the skeletal muscles and the brain of a warm-blooded host. It also crosses the blood-brain barrier as toxoids that are extracellular and replicate and infect with the brain cells. In plants, the microbes are able to be contracted through gardening, but from also undercooked meats. However, the parasite is not said to be harmful towards them. The toxoplasmosis gets into the soil from the sporozoites that are present in the feces of a cat, and they spread out to areas within the soil, and this is how the soil becomes contaminated. Now, with animals, normally the Toxoplasma gondii, the parasite lives with domestic animals and can be harmful towards them. The parasite infects warm-blooded animals, and this is why cats can become the host for the microbe. Next, looking at treatments for this disease, the best treatment for this disease is combinations of anti-parasitic medicines. Some of these medications include sulfadiazine, folinic acid, and pyrimethamine. Sulfadiazine is an antibiotic that is used with pyrimethamine to decrease the parasite load. Folinic acid normally is given with pyrimethamine to help reduce side effects and protect bone marrow. Pyrimethamine, this is the main medication of the treatment, and it's an antagonist to folinic acid to help prevent more parasite growth. If someone has a medication allergy to these specific medicines, then clindamycin and other medications can be used to help reduce the parasite. For treatments in animals, clindamycin will be used as the main treatment and will be used as in a combination with other medications listed above. For plants, since they are not directly affected by the parasite, their extracts have shown that anti-parasitic activities to fight against the disease. So how can this infection be prevented and controlled? So this infection can be controlled and prevented by making sure to cook all meats to an internal temperature of 160 degrees Fahrenheit. This also means to not eat any raw or undercooked meats. Cats also need to be kept indoors as much as possible to prevent them from hunting animals that may be infested. Also, change the litter boxes frequently, and after handling it, wash your hands immediately. Avoid sand and soil contact that can potentially contain toxoplasmosis. Always wash your hands after handling and being in a garden. Avoid drinking contaminated, untreated water, and avoid drinking milk that is unpasteurized. Something interesting that we learned is that this is a parasite that is only able to reproduce in cats but can affect various types of animals. It is a mind control parasite because it is able to change the behavior of its host. It is also found in most parts of the world and is considered as a very successful parasite.